Hey everybody, it's JC with HangarReady, and we've got a wild crew for this European time zone show. Um, with me tonight are my trusty guys from ADI. Jolly, how you doing this evening?
Great tonight or today, this afternoon.
Today? Yeah, it's during the day. I know it's shocking. And Turing, how are you doing this evening? Or this afternoon, excuse me. I said
Yeah, yippee yo, yippee yay! I'm good.
good. Nam, how about yourself? How you doing?
Well, until that, I was pretty calm. But
Almost for 20 bucks.
I'm doing pretty. I didn't think he would do it. All right, night. I'm doing good.
Good. I think the next one is going to be Shapcap. How are you doing, Shap?
Hey guys, doing well. How's everybody else doing today?
Doing wonderful.
Excellent.
You having a good day?
Great day. Great afternoon.
Good. And then Water Drop, last but definitely not least. How is it in Europe right now?
It's
It
fun.
looks like cherry blossoms.
I know, right? Hoping for spring. COVID.
You could,
Yeah.
You couldn't have picked a Star Citizen theme background there. green screen
I don't know. It's production values,
It's the new look on
We're
Orson.
working on it. Yeah.
Yes, the new look on Orson. Yes.
Yeah.
Good evening, guys.
Well, good day for us here in the States, but we definitely wanted to do something that was, EU focused for our EU members and for people that watch us that can't stay up late at night and watch us on the U.S. time zone. Whoa, something just went wrong.
What's that?
We're back.
We're
Hiccup.
back. That was a weird hiccup. Want to drop your XSplits having some problems there.
Very good.
Okay, stop pressing buttons. Okay, sorry about that. Skype had a hiccup. We'll get off the Skype computer, Sam.
No, I mean Skype as in the company Skype.
Oh, well, that may be the case. So I'm going to introduce our producer and technical director real quick, and they're not going to like it, but they're going to wave at us. Since it's a daytime show, they are here with us in studio, both of them. So, I labeled this episode Is 13 a Lucky Number, since they just released 3.13. And I think we're going to talk a lot about 3.13 today. Jolly, segment one is really straightforward. Let's talk about the mining and refining improvements here in 3.13. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, going off your lead, I do say 13 is a lucky number for mining and refinement improvements. First, it's my opinion that mining is probably the most developed portion of the game so far, with a possible exception of combat, because I do believe CI has put a lot of effort into that. Nice thing is, if you haven't done it yet, go up mining at some point in time in any vehicle you decide, except for FPS mining. You'll find that there's a new optimal range indicator on the upper left-hand corner. Can I get that slide up there, please, Sam? Mining range slides. Not that one. That one. That's where it's located at. Get the next slide, please. Close in a little bit on it. Okay, and hopefully folks can read that out. But the nice thing about this is it shows you first scan a mine and within range to actually start a mining on it. It'll tell you whether you're at insufficient range, sufficient range, or optimal range. And it's a bar that'll increase to the right. The closer you get, the better off you are. And so what I do when I do mining now is I jump in there, I turn the laser on 100% if I'm at distance in a decent sized rock. I get closer and closer until I'm at optimal range. It works out really well. I've been very happy with it. That feature is available on the Prospector, the Mole, the Rock, and the Rock DS. But it's not yet on the FPS mining tool. However, I have to note that normally when I do my FPS mining, I'm no more than a foot away anyway, so it really doesn't matter that much in my opinion. A nice thing is there's also a new mining vehicle, the Rock DS. Now, it's a two-person rock miner. I am Evocati, so I had a chance to play with it quite a bit. And what I can tell you is you can do it solo, all right? I'd say you do it solo, but you can in a Mole. Is it that much better than a rock? To be determined. In my opinion, it may be, provided you have a friend or you don't mind spending a little bit of time jumping between seat to seat. It was discarded. It was originally designed way back. It was the original rock. An ISC of inside Star Citizen in summer 2020, the rock and roll was a failed design. This is it right here. This is supposed to be the original rock. Obviously, it didn't quite work out. And one of the reasons they listed why it didn't work out is because it wouldn't fit inside a Cutlass, which most of the developers felt was the core vehicle in order to do some sort of rock mining. And they were right. I tried to put the rock inside a cutlass. Nah, no way whatsoever. But so be it. It has the same components as the rock. It's the same Arbor MHV mining laser, same cooler, power plant, and radar. The DSC has, we now believe, according to RSI's website, 4 SKU versus 1 SKU that's on the rock. And I believe that 4-to-1 improvement makes it worthwhile. Originally, just so you know, way back in the Evocata days, it was 1 SKU versus the rock's 0.8 SKU. I'm not sure that would be worth buying it, but now they've quadrupled the amount of ore you carry. I think it may be worth your time to take a look at it. That was the main difference as far as I was concerned. It's much more stable than the rock was. I tried to turn it over. I ran it over rocks that I knew would turn over a ROCK that normally would turn over an ROCE, but in the DS, it wouldn't turn over. As much as I tried, I could never flip the damn thing. However, it has a very poor turning radius. And so if you're trying to get it onto a ship, it may take you a little bit longer, more K turns to get the thing going. The wheel base means that a cutlass can't carry it, unfortunately. My estimate is a Freelancer Max or bigger or wider can do so. The rock is, the basic rock is 3.8 meters wide, as well as the DS is 5 meters wide. Its height is 3.1 meters. The DS is 3.3 meters, which is 8 inches for the Americans that may be watching this. And the length is 5.1 meters, and the DS is 6.6 meters. However, it still fits inside the cutlass with no problem whatsoever. Give a shot of the rock in the cutlass. I believe I posted one earlier to verify that. No worry about it. Go ahead, Jacqueline, take your time. On the positive side, the rock DS has, don't worry about it, has a laser that can move more than 90 degrees. I'm going to estimate about 100 degrees left and 100 degrees right, as opposed to the rock, which is pretty limited, maybe 45 degrees left and right. So if you are doing it solo, that means you get yourself in front of the rocks you're trying to mine, get out of the driver's seat, get into the mining seat, and you still hit all the things that are in front of you. So I don't think it's that bad for even solo mining. I think it's better if you have a friend with you, because everything's better with a friend. But if you want to do that, then so be it. The cost we haven't seen yet. As of yesterday, I checked. I haven't seen a cost listed up on it. I'm going to guess $75. The rock goes for 55, so it's not that bad. What do you guys think about the rock itself? Turin?
I don't have the DS, so I have not had an opportunity to mine in it. I went back out and did the rock mining the other day. When it was working, it was it was great. I think they've improved the ability to extract the gems once the rock explodes. They all come down. As long as you don't overcharge it too much and blow them 500 meters away from where you're at, I think it's good. I did have a problem that about halfway through my mining session, the arm itself would stop tracking on me. I wasn't able to track anymore. It would work, but it wouldn't track. But for the little amount of time that I went out and did it, I was making really good money. I used the Nomad versus the Cutlass, since they've worked on fixing the elevator. Now that the rock will sit in there without bouncy fun boom is what it was doing before. So at least
People are coughing now.
I should have done that when Nam was taking a drink. But anyway, it makes working the combo, the Nomad combo, rock combo, viable, I think, now in the future. So yeah, I was doing great. Nam, I don't know if you had any issues with, or I'm sure you tried out the DS.
I did a little bit, mostly during the PTU and mostly just the driving. Hardly did any mining with it. So I was very negative on it at first, provided some feedback, and I'm thinking a lot of us being vocal about it is why they ended up increasing its capacity some, because it didn't have the capacity it does now, and they probably upped the laser power a bit. So it made it a bit more viable to me at that point, make a little more sense, because before I was saying you'd be better off with just 2 rocks if you're going to have 2 people anyway. But that's viable. The issue with it, well, it's not an issue, I guess, with it not being able to be flipped, is a kind of a general issue for vehicles, not just the DS, which might actually be a negative for a lot of the people who are racing, because they can't screw up. They can't screw up and flip the vehicle. They're mostly righting themselves now. So I guess they did that because people were complaining of always flipping over, but I think it's an overcompensation.
Chapcap, what are your thoughts on the Rock DS?
Couple thoughts. I like the idea of the Rock DS. I'm not 100% sold on the practicality of it. For me, when I mine solo, I'll fill a rock up and then just pull everything out of the back of it and put it in a crate in the back of my ship. I don't need a bigger rock because the ship's never that far away from it. So the extra capacity is cool, and I can see it being useful if you're like deep down in a cave somewhere where you can't get your ship close. But I don't know how often we're actually going to see one out in the wild being used. And then just to circle back around on the price, it's $70 War Bond, $75 with credit. They also have a pack you can pick up that is a DS, 3 full armor sets, and 3 paint jobs for $100. Seems like a good deal to me. So I scooped that up. I'll probably CCU the rock itself up to something else though.
Should point out that the War Bond one has LTI.
Yeah,
it
does, and the pack, the one in the pack does too, obviously with War Bond. So
great.
Yeah, that's my thoughts.
Waterdrop, what are your thoughts on the Rock DS?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. It's an option, right? I think the points that were made about the larger cargo capacity, I think that's hopefully significant. It should extend the operating time. Also read in the Q&A, worth mentioning that also once engines require fuel in the game, it's going to have a longer extended operating range also. So I don't know if we're going to get ground locations that you cannot get to by using a ship, because as Chapcap just said, why would I ever want to drive far if I can always go with my ship to my rock? But if that's not the case, then that could become more viable, I guess.
I agree.
I think it's cool.
I think it probably has a niche place. I think that it's a great little thing. I love the multiplayer portions of it. I would prefer to see something that was more side by side, where you're in the cabin together instead of this hanging out and this weird robotic arm turning yourself upside down kind of thing. But otherwise, I like it. I again question just how much more beneficial it would be than carrying just 2 rocks, because any ship that can carry this can pretty much carry 2 rocks. So, but it's a nifty little idea. It's definitely a niche kind of device, and I would probably prefer to be on a rock unless I had somebody with me, and I couldn't man, a mole. Jolly, what do you think about these the changed perishables?
Yeah, the perishables for the mining lasers, which are now called modules, just so you know, they're somewhere now persistent, which means you install them and they're passive, which means you don't have to turn them on. They'll always be good for you. They tend to be a lot more expensive, but in my opinion, a lot of the perishables are worth spending your time on, as opposed to the active ones, such as the optimal, which is still you have to turn it on. Has a lifespan on it. It'll die off. You got to replace it, but it's far less expensive than one of the passive ones are. One of the new ones that are out there is the filter or FLTR module. It does. If you get up the next to website or slide that shows the FLTR slide, hopefully folks can see that one. But basically, it's a minus 50% extraction speed. To be honest, when it comes time to extract the rock, it's not a big deal. It goes by pretty quick anyways, as opposed to mining it in the first place. It removes 10% of the inert material, which I think an extra 3.2 STU of value ore inside your ship is worth it. So I'm not worried about it.
Oh, definitely.
It's only worth 6,000. It's only cost 6,000 UVC, but it's persistent. So it's a one-time buy. I think it's a real good spot 3 on your module. If you have a module or a laser that can take 3 of them, I would do so. I think it's worthwhile. There are 2 others that have been added to the Focus 3, which is again a persistent one. Its resistance is minus 10%. However, instability is plus 4%. It's probably a acceptable trade-off to its ability to crack more massive rocks. It's 40,000 credits though, which is really expensive, but it is persistent. and the Riger C3, which is resistant at plus 6%. It increased the optimal charge window by 10%, and a good pair with the Focus 3, it's 60,000 credits. Now, Turin, you did more mining and refining than I did during the PTU. What do you have to add to all that?
Yeah, so first I would say with the passive modules, they come in 3 sizes each. So like the filter, there's a filter large and a fixed filter XL, and they go up in both ability and price. So the Focus 3 and the Riger 3 are the top of those components. So there's a Focus 1 and a Riger C1 as well, where the actual benefits are a lot less. But it costs a lot less as well. Currently, I was running the Filter XL, the Riger C3, and the Focus 3 with a Helix mining laser, and I was able to get my inert material down to 20%. So now you're looking at being able to fill up an additional 6.4 SCU in your prospector without in actual ore and not inert material. The extraction speed was only less by 30%, and I agree with Jolly that it's almost a blip. You don't even notice it. Instability, by putting the two with the Focus and the Riger together, the instability only went up by 4%, and my resistance on the rock was 4%, was down 4%. But the big improvement was the optimal charge window went up by 10%. So that increases that green range that you're able to to keep the mining laser in. I found that combination for me personally was fantastic because I didn't have to worry about turning a module on, turning a module off while I was mining. And with the combination of that range indicator that Jolly was mentioning earlier, where you're in the optimal range with it, I was and if I'm telling you I'm mining, it's working because Turin doesn't mine. So if I'm mining, trading's busted. So it's just a fact. But I found it very enjoyable and quite profitable. And we'll talk a little bit about the refining method in a little bit. But Water Drop, have you done any mining currently in what's happening?
No, not in 3.13 yet, but I really enjoy the mining gameplay in general. So that's the next on my list to do more of.
Now, what about you with the mining?
I actually haven't touched on that much in 3.13. Really haven't. I was focused on other things this time.
Yeah. Yep. Jolly, I know you wanted to close in on the. Sorry, Jay.
I'm taking over. Damn it!
You're taking over.
Taking over.
Back in your cage there, Turin.
Turn to the coup.
I actually was going to talk about this Reddit page that you wanted us to show. If you don't
okay,
mind.
sure.
And we can get that up full screen and let you talk about what this is and.
Yeah, so I do, on occasion I do a little bit of data mining, etc. And I found this when I was out searching for a good location for what's the information on mining currently. And this link, it was great. There's actually 2 graphs on here. There should be a ability to flip over to another one that shows the actual refining breakdown and a couple of the other pieces. But that was a really good breakdown of which each one of the modules, what they do, how much they cost, and where you can buy it. Because just like everything pretty much in Star Citizen, not everything is worth not everything is located at every shop that you go to. So, shop around and see what you can get. But this was a good combination of stuff, and I think we'll be sending this over to our mining guys as a good template.
Hey, Turin, do you know who made that so we can credit the individual?
It's on the Reddit page.
I posted the link in chat. So
yeah,
I can't open it.
Beat me to the link already.
Yeah, so Guardian Angel. It's his Reddit page, and it's a really good breakdown.
Well done, Guardian Angel. Thank you.
Yep, very good, very good. Shap, do you have any thoughts on mining?
I've tried it a little bit. I used some of the components, the passive components, and they seem to work out okay. The filter did all right. Yeah, that's the extent of my mining. Haven't been able to get a Rock DS to spawn long enough to actually do anything with it yet. So.
Well, I want to get in and get on a mole here pretty soon, but so far I haven't been able to do that since 3.13 dropped to test it out. So I don't really have anything to add on the new special stuff. But
Oh, you can't put it on a rock. That's kind of a bummer. I was hoping you might be able to put some of that stuff on the rock laser, and
Not
you
yet.
can't. Not yet. Soon to end, maybe.
Hopefully, at least one. It'd be nice to at least have one perishable on it, or module on a rock. Would be nice. But in general, so Sherry, you're saying is the filter XL, Riger C3, and Focus 3 with a Helix ML is something that folks may want to try out. Those are all passives.
Those are all passives. They are a cost. You'll spend between it probably. I think I spent 160,000. I think it's 160,000, 140,000 all total, which is nothing to sneeze at. But once you get it, you've got it, and you don't have to turn them on. You don't have to do anything. And I think if you're a great miner, if you're out there, taking your time, cracking the rocks, getting the good stuff, you'll make back that money in 2 to 3 runs. So
the final thing is that in the future, the multi-tool still has a battery. As far as I know, it still does nothing. So we'll wait and see what something develops out of that. Jay, back to you.
Well, I think we're actually going to talk about these refining methods, so I was going to toss it right back to you.
All right.
Hot potato.
As far as I know,
Hot
there
potato,
are 4 new methods that have come out: the XCR reaction, ferrion exchange, thermonic deposition, and Kaizen winnowing. Kaizen reminds me of Voyager for some reason, Star Trek Voyager, but whatever. Anyways, each one, also like the other refining methods that are out there, have a different speed, cost, and yield. What I've found so far, when I went out with I mined a whole bunch of laranite, almost an entire, I think it was 30 SCU of laranite is what it turned out to. I tried the ferron exchange, which is listed as low speed, medium cost, high yield, 28 SCU of laranite, I take it back. That cost 9 hours versus 1 day and 4 hours with the Dissonian. I'd almost like to try that again with the Dissonian, see if I get more than 28 out of it. I have doubts that I would. So that maybe my new favorite one is the Ferron Exchange. Again, Turn, you did more mining and refining than I did. What do you have? One thing I want to point out, when they say, and they list on the, when you pull it up, that's what it reads. They may list high, medium, low, but there are definitely ranges of high, medium, and low. For example, the Dissonian was 1,800 credits if I wanted to. Bear in mind, that particular site I was at is MIC-L1. They were, because it was beginning of the PT when it just 3.13 just dropped. I joined it like 30 minutes after. There was no load on it, so I didn't have any additional charges. But it was 1,800 credits. If I had done when I did do the Ferron Exchange, it was 3,800 credits. So medium and low has a range. Keep that in mind. So check those out before you go ahead and submit your order itself. I'm going to turn it over to you because I know you did more than I did.
Well, I worked with the XCR reaction refining method, and I would just also add that the ranges are it is a range. Even though some people may think or put it as high speed, medium cost, high yield, my actual results were more high speed, medium to high cost, and medium yield. I worked with a full prospector. The speed was very quick, 15 to 18 minutes. 18 minutes was the fastest or the longest time it took for me to refine anything. But the cost was anywhere up to 10K to refine a full load, and that was pretty expensive. For what I was mining, and the yield, you're going to lose probably 10 SCU, easy, 10 to 12 SCU easy over this method, which was a lot lower than I had hoped it would be. I would also add the Kazon one. I did that one too. The medium, low. I think that's pretty well on for that one as well. If you look at the mining methods by yield, if you're just going by yield, your quick 1, 2, 3 order is Dynex, Ferron, and Pyrometric is the 3. Those seem to be the highest yield. Just be mindful that some of them have some pretty significant costs too. That's it, John.
Thanks. Shep, you said you didn't get a chance to do much mining, right?
Well, I've actually, it's funny, as soon as I said that, we dumped into this, and I have done a little bit of prospector mining. And I was I actually had a question about the modules. Can you get all of the modules everywhere, or are there some only at certain places?
There's some only at certain places. So,
Okay.
like for the Filter XL, you can get, or the filter modules, you can buy the regular one and the large one at Hurl L1, but you have to go. I mean, Crew L1, but you got to go to Hurl L1 for the XL. So they're all over the place, just like armor and weapons and etc.
Gotcha. And then from my perspective, when I went to refine, I don't remember the name of it, but I chose the process that was extremely low speed, high yield, low cost.
Dynex, probably.
Whichever one it is, because personally for me at the moment, I don't need the credits immediately. I can let them just bake and come back there. It's very passionate for me.
But what I found, for example, when I did the Sonian, which I'm with you, I agree. I think it's the best there is. It was 1 day and 4 hours.
Yeah, it was 23 hours.
I tend to play during a certain period of time in a day, Monday to Friday. And 1 day and 4 hours would then put it being done outside of my normal play time. I was looking for something that was less than 24 hours in order to get I could do my mining, start my refining, do some bounty hunting, play whatever I want to do, and then leave the game, come back, normal time I'd log in the next day, and that's ready to go. I can immediately sell at the beginning and go back doing what I do, either more mining or go do some more bounty hunting, whatever the case would be. So that 1 day is really a big deal for me, at least, because I don't change my play times very much.
Yeah, fair enough. I get that. For me, it's more like I'll come back and get it whenever I want it.
That's fine. It'll be there.
Yeah.
And Jolly, do you find that the cost, even though there is a cost, it's not that bad. It's not that onerous. I mean, you're still going to make money over selling the raw ore.
Yep.
Don't you think? I mean, so I agree. I think the best thing to do is you can approach the mining or the refining two ways. You can look at it as trying to make a train process while you're playing your play session. So therefore, you want to have it, you want to have it refined as quickly as possible because you're gonna try to churn and burn that, and then eventually load your cargo ship and go sell it before you're done with your play session. Or like most people, you're going to set them all to run while you're offline. And when you come back the next day during your normal playtime, you want them all to be, done so you can then go do your cargo run. So I wouldn't say that cost is something you shouldn't look at, but I don't think it's an overwhelming factor as to what is depending on which of the reaction time or the refining methods that you choose.
Yeah, but I overall agree with what Shep said, and that's what I normally do, especially if I'm mining on a Monday and I'm going to wait. I don't mind doing the runs on a Wednesday, what the case would be. Payoff would be a little bit higher for me.
Yep, definitely. So I think we have beaten the mining refinery stuff to death. I unfortunately haven't gotten to do any refinery. I guess that's going to have to be a focus of mine on 3.13 and give it a shot. It sounds like they've now fixed trading as well in 3.13, but I think we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's talk about the other big thing that they added. Nam, what do you think about the Cyclone MT?
Well, Cyclone MT was another one that you hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was doing some stuff to my mic. I wasn't sure. It's another one I was skeptical on, but after looking at what it is, one thing, you can seat 3 people just like with the Cyclone TR. You got the driver, co-driver, and the turret gunner. And it mounts 4 size 2 missiles, which I think is maybe 2 more than what the TR holds, and then 1 size 1 gun. As been pointed out, you can't reload it. We still don't have a means of reloading right there. So with most of the vehicles, that's the problem. Same thing with anything else with a vehicle with a missile. You fire it off, and then it's mostly useless. Until you can get it back to a place where you can either reclaim it or land on a garage pad to like shown there to rearm and refuel. Which I don't think fuel's an issue yet, but it eventually will be. We also have a slide of showing it in a cutlass, just like the other MT, the other Cyclones. It fits well inside of a cutlass as long as the jump seats are up. It won't. Otherwise, it'll bounce over those. And it's $65 war bond and $75 with store credit. Of course, the war bond comes with LTI. I like the vehicle. Also, something else they've introduced with the MT is they redid the wheel physics to where the ships, the wheels don't, they have a little more of a bounce, but also they sticks to, I don't know how to describe it, sticks to the road a little better.
Yeah.
In the commercial they made for the MT, you can see a little bit of that when it landed in the ship when it jumped off the cliff. And it does make it a little more fun to drive in that respect. But they've also added the whole thing where it's almost impossible to roll a vehicle now, which means they've actually taken away a bit of skill there where you might have to avoid doing that. Couple of thoughts I have on it. This is just a single size one gun, but they do have a ballistic scatter gun, I think called the Havoc, that has like 4 times the DPS of the stock gun. That might be something you might consider doing with it. And does anybody know? I haven't. It just occurred to me a little while ago. Has anybody tried swapping out the missile racks on these things?
I have not.
Negative.
Because Urkel Games is a pretty good site for checking the specs of different ships. Urkel.games. They it does show you being able to swap out for like a rack holding a single size 3 or holding 4 size 1s. And considering the range you're likely to be using one of these vehicles on a craft, and considering 2 size 1 missiles typically have more damage than a single size 2, you could potentially increase the damage output of the vehicle by having 8 size 1 missiles if you're able to swap those out.
That would be amazing if it would let us do that.
Right. And then there's also, I think vehicles are going to come more into their own down the road when we get the next passes on signatures. There's roadmap cards for terrain and environment, or at least environment affecting how well your signature is picked up. So I can see vehicles hidden in behind hills and stuff being more of a threat to ships flying in. Anybody have thoughts on this?
Yeah, Water Drop, what are your thoughts on the Cyclone MT?
I think it's cool. I mean, it's one of those things. It's got a lot of overlap with the TR. They both have the same main direct fire weapon size. The difference is that the Cyclone MT has got the missiles as well. So that to me makes the Cyclone MT the #1 choice if you want to have a combat role where you have both air and ground targets in mind. The difference with the TR that could be an edge for the TR is TR has 1 SCU of cargo. Again, is that going to matter for ground vehicles? We don't know to what extent that's going to be, what the value of that's going to be. But I think they're both 3 crew. The anti-air dedicated Cyclone has only missiles. So I think it's, you can pick the right tool for the job given your mission.
Definitely. Shepcap, what are your thoughts on the Cyclone?
I like most of the Cyclones. I think they all have their little niche. The gun is much more punchy than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be another, anti-personnel gun, but I think it could be an anti-materiel gun. I think it's got a little more kick to it. It's got a slower firing speed, but bigger bang. And then also we have a comment in chat here that you cannot swap out the MT racks. They're kind of like a bespoke deal, like the nose gun for the Vanguard. So kind of a bummer, but maybe it'll come out with different pods, like they came out with different pods for the Vanguard. So we'll see. Overall, though, I like the MT. I think it's going to have a good fit, but, a commander's got to know where to put it to make it make sense, just like everything else in game. Those are my thoughts.
Turn, what are your thoughts?
I think it's going to be something you could use if they come out with anti-tank missiles and the ability to target other ground vehicles. That could be a very good, fast-moving anti-tank turret weapon, or in the arsenal for the ground commander. A good screening vessel as well. Good screening ship vehicle.
Okay. And Jolly, what are your thoughts?
I'm very positive on the thing now. I bought the when they're just out as what the hell is it called? I forget. Not yet released, but available to buy. I bought the 5-pack concept. I bought the 5-pack ship, 5-pack of Cyclones. Now since then I've take my basic Cyclone. I've upgraded it because basic Cyclone is used as far as I'm concerned. I've kept all the other ones there. I only kept the racing one because I may race someday. Doubt I will, but it's there. However, the MT cable log, I wish I'd instead of having an AA and a TR, I had two MTs. But now I have an MT anyways to go along with my AA and my TR. And you're right, they have the same number of missiles, Gnome, the AA versus the MT. And of course, the same gun, TR versus the MT. So if you're going to have one Cyclone and you want to look at fighting, you can carry 3 people, which is a positive. But I think the MT really now steals the Cyclone show. And so if you want to get a vehicle that can fight, if you don't have an Ursa already, and carry more people and more skew, I'd go for the MT. And the cost isn't bad, to be honest. I think it's $75. 65 you do cash. You buy them in game if you want to. I only buy ships I own. I may have loaners that come in for ships I own, but I don't buy any ships in game. I only want to get used to flying the ones that I know I'm going to have at the very beginning, which I have a lot right now. So I'll make sure I can equip those appropriately, and I'm happy with that. But that's personal opinion, not what like Brian would do. You know, he buys everything in game, bastard. But overall, I'm very happy with the Darkness, same thing.
Telling on people.
Yeah,
It's the Pokemon approach.
The very much Pokemon. You know, my take on the Cyclone MT is that I worry that it's kind of putting the TR out of business. There's really no big advantage to the TR than there is to the MT in my mind. You know, I know that currently the radar guided missiles only attacking air targets make it a little less useful than it will be down the road when you might be able to lock vehicles. But you definitely need, you know, there's just no downside to the MT over the TR. So I think it's really kind of, that's the only downside I see. And then Jolly, just to poke a little fun at you, the one thing about the regular Cyclone is it does have a trunk where you can put cargo or mission boxes in if you need to.
I don't buy Cyclones for my transportability.
I know. You and I would be using an Ursa instead, but
Exactly.
just commenting to everybody else out there that the one thing that the Cyclone uses is it's a car. You can do mission boxes in the back
until Origin comes out with its ship.
Correct.
Its vehicle, and
I had that one
the
also.
G12, yeah.
The G12, yeah.
And then isn't there a Lynx rover coming too at some point?
At some point,
Supposedly, yes.
Allegedly.
Well, it's on the list. Currently you get a Ursa if you bought the Lynx.
Yep.
Sweet.
So, Nom, talk to us more about how reputation works in the game.
Well, it's obviously it's the first pass we've seen of it, and it just works. Seems to that there are a couple of situations where you may not see the bar budge or much at all. See here, this here is that's you got 2 sections. You have organizations for the and then you have contacts. So individuals you deal with, like Miles Eckhart will show here, and if you'll notice, it says they have a rivals. So I haven't been able to fully test it. I've been messing with it some, and it at least seemed that when I was doing more missions for him, my affinity, at least with the others that may be on the other bar, on the next image, my affinity with one of those others would go down a little bit because I was doing so much stuff with Miles Eckhart. The other good thing about this is before we were always just, okay, I got to do missions, but you'd have no idea how much you really needed to get to the next level so you could get better paying, larger missions. Here, at least, with North Rock here, it'll tell me that I get up to this level and I will get an X amount of percentage bonus. And let's see. So it's really going to be leading towards we're going to have rival factions, either lawful or unlawful, or sometimes just competing. And working with one will lower your reputation with the other, which is what we really want. And we still have the issue same issue we've had for a while here with bounty hunting is you get to a point, nobody's there, you end up having to wait part of a minute, sometimes several minutes, because there's some problems on the server side with them actually spawning in.
And then they all spawn in all of a sudden and kill you.
I only had one mission where I just got pig piled, but the rest of them, it was just the one guy popping in. I'd kill him, and if I was in the mood to kill a couple of randoms, I would wait around for them to pop in. which doesn't really make much sense. If guys got protection, they should show up with him. It's a good first step. I mean, it really is the tier 0 pass on this, as far as I'm concerned, as far as having visibility to what you need. Because the thing you want to concentrate on is the Bounty Hunters Guild, in my opinion, because you look at that path and that tells you what you need to do to get up to the next level, so you can do the certification for that level. Because I should have spoke about that before. The certifications are something you actually pay money for to go do that mission, and like the first one for the first level is like 500 UEC. You go kill that one, and now you're able to get the very low threat targets, but at least this gives us visibility to know you do a mission, see how much the bar goes up, and then you have an idea how many more you need to do in order to be able to go for like the journeyman's license or whatever, so you can get a higher threat targets which pay better. And that's pretty much it. It's just a matter of doing missions, paying attention to what your reputation was before and after, and adjusting accordingly. That's all I got to say on that.
Okay. Shapcap, what do you think about this new reputation system? Have you gotten to play with it at all?
Yeah, I haven't, but I think I'm not in the super elite tester class that a lot of people are in here. Welcome
to that club. I'm not in it either.
I think it's a great step. I mean, reputation is important in other games like Elite. It unlocks different things for you, whether it's ships or missions. So I think it's a great first step, and I think if it's going to be a serious MMORPG, then it's something that needs to be there, and better to suss it out early than late.
Definitely agree. Waterdrop, what are your thoughts on them adding the reputation system, and how do you think it is going to work by looking at it? Do you think it's a good implementation or a bad one?
I think it's a really cool first step, and I've played around with it a little bit, and I think what it does for me, it adds something to the PU that I think has been needed, and that's a sense of progression in terms of game content. I like the idea that it has consequences. So if you build up your reputation with one group, it might affect your opportunities negatively somewhere else, or maybe there's bleed over effect to a different group that's allied. I like that. And I also like the idea that, you kind of build up your level of competency in the game and unlock cooler missions. So I think that's really cool. To me, it makes one game session lead into the next game session in terms of progression. I think that's really, really a good step to have some content like that.
I completely agree. Jolly, what are your thoughts?
I love it. I think it's a huge improvement in the game. I really think those who like the bounty hunting aspect of SC are being rewarded finally. I think they're getting to show their progress, bragging rights, whatever the case may be. I wonder how much further it's going to go. Like Water was saying, this is the first step, and Noam was saying too. We've talked a lot about that's individual reputation with a mission giver. We're going to get this expanded out to reputation within the organization itself, etc. I'm seeing what's going to come of that, if anything at all. So there's is this the first step, or the only step, or the first of many steps DI is going to take?
Yeah. And Turing, what are your thoughts?
Well, with all homage to Joan Jett, I don't give a dang about my reputation. At this point, it's okay. It's
Fantastic.
okay. I actually have not played around with it. The server I was on last night, when I had it was extremely stable. The one thing it was not doing was spawning bounties for me to test out. So I haven't done it yet. But I agree. If they can link it with unlocking future missions, better paying missions. I especially like the interlinking. If you're working for one, maybe you're working against another one. It gives you a lot of choices, and at the end of the day, choice is always good. So yeah.
From my perspective, the question I have is, can we share missions still, even if you don't have the rep? And what does that do to your rep with those guys? That would be the experiment. I'd be curious to see how that's working, because that would allow large organizations to have guys that had super high rep with both savory and unsavory characters, and then be able to pull missions and share those out with people that don't necessarily want to have an unsavory rep. That's the question I have, is how they're going to implement that and allow us to do that kind of sharing. So it's a really intriguing system, and it's, but the devil's in the details, and we're just going to have to see how it works now and how they refine it moving forward. But as I promised, segment number 4 is here, and we're going to go turn it over to Turing to talk to all the other stuff that got shoveled into 313 that we want to talk about. And,
yeah. Okay.
There's some fun stuff here, and some worthless, time-consuming...
some worthless, time-consuming babble, which is why they're giving it to me.
All yours, Terry.
To start out, let's talk a little bit about what happens before the patch drops, because it's a little too late for this pro tip. But one of the things that at least I noticed firsthand, and a lot of other people noticed firsthand, is that before the patch drops, you should really take an opportunity to go back into game and take off all your components and put back on those ships, those components. If you can actually match the original ones, that would be fantastic. But take off what you don't want to lose. This also includes armor, as yours truly found out. You will lose that if you're wearing it. So I know, Jolly, you did that and had some good positive results.
Yeah, I stripped everything off my body, all my basic armor, put all the junk back on. It went through all my ships. I forgot a couple, I have to admit, but all the ships I knew I spent big money on, such as a Helix laser, etc. A lot of my hammerhead gear, a lot of the gear I put on my harbingers. I have 2. I stripped all that stuff off. My sabers, I stripped it off. I just left it empty, just so you know. When the patch dropped, I didn't lose any of that gear except the stuff, a couple of minor things I forgot, which are no big deal. I can replace them easily. I forgot to take out all my med pens. I lost a lot of those, kept about half of them. But all the ships that I stripped everything off of, to include the basic components, I got them all back. So that was kind of nice, kind of like a cheating way of getting additional equipment that I'm not going to use anyways, but it was there. And I was able to spend, unfortunately, half a day reloading everything back onto my ship. So is it worth your time and effort? That's up to you. For me, it was. I had a feeling the patch was going to drop very soon. I'm in Evocati, so I had a chance to watch it through that, watching the first wave, second wave, and thinking, okay, it's about now it's going to drop. So I went in one day and I just took everything off. That was my day of gaming on that day. And sure enough, the next morning I had a new patch to install, and it was 3.13, and I was quite happy to see everything was still there.
Yeah, Nam, I think you had the same experience.
Well, I did not expect it to drop necessarily that day, and I was stuck at work when it dropped, so I didn't have the opportunity to do that. I did lose a few things, a few ship components. Nothing huge, I guess, but yeah, it's definitely something you want to do, just to avoid that.
Yeah. So that if you're looking at trying to maximize your components, persistence does happen, but on occasion, especially when they start working and doing a lot of the back-end database stuff, just take off all your components, put them back on the shelf. That way you'll run a chance that you probably won't lose them when the patch drops.
So a comment was made. I do want to point out, if it's something you purchased itself, or you got through subscription, those are persistent. You leave them on or not, doesn't matter. They'll come back.
Yeah, those will work. Yeah, those will work. I had my ADI armor when the ADI medium set, I believe, when I got in, it was gone. And so, but oddly enough, the old armor that I had in my system, which you can't sell back to anything, I had all that. One of the new features at this time was they call it ship-to-ship docking, which it is, but it's only on the Constellation series with the P-52 and P-72 snub fighters. It does have its quirks. You have to make sure that you're lined up correctly when you come back in to redock, but I found it rather enjoyable and rather useful. It can be rather useful. One of the positives for me was that I could even undock when I'm actually landed on the ground. So I could actually see this in combination with the cave mining, the cave missions, where you have a huge, a cave that you fly into. You could land your Constellation next to it, and then perhaps take that snub fighter a little bit down in there initially, and then come back out. Shap, did you do any, ship docking this time yet?
Yeah, I have tried it. It took a lot of monkey punching my keyboard to get the key combo right, because there is no clear delineation in the control setup. At least when I tried it, there wasn't, of push this to dock in or to initiate that. But the only thing that I think they missed on doing this is they need to add some type of navigation system to ships without a quantum drive. Because it's kind of useless if I want to go down to a planet, if I can't see where the hell I need to go in my snub fighter. I don't want to take my Connie down. You know, I can point in the general direction and then hopefully I find it, or I've got a pip there. So I think it's great. I'm glad to see it. I think it's going to unlock more docking stuff in the future. But I think they missed a big piece with that. And it may be difficult to do. I don't know, but it needs to be there eventually.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because if you don't have a quantum drive in your ship, you cannot use the map function. F2 will not give you any kind of directional thing. Plus, according to the patch notes, you got 30 kilometers away from your constellation, your ship had you might despawn on you and you won't be able to get back. So right now going down to the planet with your snub fighter really isn't an option either.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else have anything on ship docking?
Oh,
Yeah, the only thing
I don't know who.
Yeah,
I think actually the docking is easy. Target the Connie. You get your indicator up there. Align the two circles. You write Sheps, various pushes of the N key, and then you redock. And I had no problems doing it. And Turn, I really like your idea about taking it down to a cave, especially if you drop the landing gear, narrow it up a little bit more, take it further in, and use that P-52 against whatever NPC you may find down in the cave.
Oh, the first
spot on.
The first NPC in the cave is getting all my Gatling gun. I mean, that guy doesn't stand a chance. Yeah. Who else was it? Water Drop? Did you have? Ship? Yep.
It's the docking of a snub fighter. It's the smallest little thing that can fly in the game. But what really gets me excited about this one is the tech behind it that's required, right? Because it's dynamics physics grids. Two ships, the inside and outside of a ship is merging somehow and then becoming something new. We know we're going to need better physics grid tech for the hull C. And in general, I would imagine that this is a significant technical hurdle to kind of get past. So I'm really excited that CIG actually shipped something to live in this area. It's the first step, but I like that one. That's the highlight for me when it comes to docking right now.
Fantastic. Another good, also continuing with the Constellation love, which is great. I'm a Constellation fan. Vehicles seem now to no longer clip or fall through their lifts and their elevators. I've experienced this on both the Connie and the Nomad. That's going to make using vehicles and especially I think the Nomad Rock combination now becomes, like I said before, completely viable to the new player. Because both of them are relatively inexpensive to pick up and use, and you've got a fantastic, in-game credit money making combo there, because you're bringing your house along with you as you go along. Nam, have you experienced any positives with the new elevator mechanics?
Just that. I mean, I was with some of my guys in game, and I'm just staying there watching an Ursa go up on the lift on a Connie, and I don't think I've ever seen it move so smooth. There was no hitching. It wasn't bouncing at all. It was exactly as you would want to see it. Can't speak much more to that. Oh, as far as landing a Connie down the cave and taking the Merlin off, already beat you there. I was in game with Captain Knuckles, and I'm out on the surface. I'm watching. He pilots an Aquila right down in there, and he undocks. I'm just watching down there, and he's undocking a Merlin from it and flies right up out of it like he's leaving the Batcave. So it was
yes,
it was awesome.
That's awesome.
It was like went right like 10 meters in front of me. It was like I wasn't expecting it either.
Right,
it was great.
Right.
Got some theme music for that one. Yeah.
Jay, do you have any thoughts with the new lifts and elevator mechanics?
Well, the elevator mechanics, getting that fixed is absolutely fantastic. I think that's wonderful. I'm still not a big ship-to-ship guy, though. I still think that they should have gotten the ship docking so we could get the holes in before they worried about the snub fighters being able to dock. But maybe that was a prerequisite. I doubt it, but it is. I think we have a video here that hold on one second. I think we're going to play this video that Nom was alluding to real quick.
Now I'm going down an elevator. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Happens a few
Sorry.
times.
Don't jump. Don't do it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
when he's
Oh,
looking
there
out
he
over
goes.
the edge. Yeah.
Oh
there
my
it is.
God.
Yeah.
Way to go,
Yeah.
Like
Connector.
a
Yeah.
rocket.
Oh, well, no
Oh,
flares?
there he goes.
Hey,
There we go.
I need to see flares next time.
Elon Musk level right there.
No, I really think getting the lifts and the elevators to stop having so many quirky problems like they have, and it is amazing how much better it is. So I really think they did a good job on that.
Yeah, I think the focus on the constellation and making sure that tech works solves more issues than just with the Hull C, because you're looking at two separate ships that are coming together, whereas the Hull C has the cargo thing, just the cargo going on it, the physics grid, pass through or pass over to from one physics grid to another. So I think there's a lot going on with trying to focus on that. And CIG is responsive to the community to a certain extent, and that thing's been around for a while, and people have been wanting to use it on the back. I will say there is one negative thing about it, and that is if you encounter at least in my view, my experience, if you encounter a hostile constellation during one of your bounty runs, the constellation itself is hostile to you, but the P-52 is not necessarily. So be careful when you start blowing up the ship. One doesn't necessarily, they're not tied together. They're two separate entities as far as red versus blue. So
That's probably.
I've got a question on the snub. One last thing, if we have the time.
Yeah.
So what if I own a snub fighter and I dock it into your constellation, then you log off and spawn the ship again? What happens to my snub fighter?
I think you'd have to claim it. You'd have to claim it. Because it's part of his ship now, so it comes undocked. I would think.
It's no longer your snub fighter; it's my snub fighter.
Somebody out there is going to have to test this.
I thought they patched it to the point that, for your example, I take my P-52 away, Connie disappears. If I claim my Connie, the P-52 reappears with it. I thought that was a patch.
Yeah, and I think they have some duplication problems right now with that as well.
Yeah.
At least they did
now
it
you got
in
two.
PTU.
Sweet.
It was a way to
We're going to get to that in a minute.
I'm gonna have 452, 400 P-52s now.
All right. There's a couple of new missions that they have in 313. Real quickly, there's two new delivery missions. There's the quantum sensitive one and the timed one. The quantum sensitive one, if you pick it up, you cannot quantum with it. You also cannot hide that in a shielded compartment such as the MSR and expect the quantum to work. It doesn't happen. So you cannot quantum at all with it. You have to fly in space. The ones that I've experienced with this, I pick it up on one side of Hurston, I got to take it to the opposite side of Hurston. So you head up the atmosphere, you kind of lock and load it, and watch YouTube on the way around around the planet, because there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. You have to fly in real space for it. The one that I get the most fun at or fun with is the timed one. This is where you have 4 crates, and if you remember the Xeno threat, the crates that you had to go and unlock and pull the thing out to put it in your cargo ship, you have that in a wreck. You have to go, and as soon as you start doing that, there's a timer on each one of those crates. I think it's 4 of them that you have to pull out, put on your ship, and you've got approximately, I think it's 5 to 8 minutes, 8 minutes perhaps, to get to the location. I've been able to do it with at least 2 minutes left on the timer most of the time when I've done that. You get a real sense of urgency when you're working with this, even though it's not going to blow up and disappear or it's just going to become inert and you're not going to be able to use it. There's a real sense of urgency. I really like what it means also for the future of missions, for time and timing stuff, and maybe eventually stringing it together. We saw this during the Xeno threat. This is the direct result of what they tested during Xeno threat, and I just enjoyed it. Anyone else have experience and feedback on the new missions?
Does the quantum cargo, does it block your quantum, or does it go boom
Yes.
if you try to use quantum? Okay.
No,
Okay.
Your quantum will be like scrambled.
Okay.
You will not be able to engage quantum at all.
So I can control my friends with it, is what you're telling me.
Well, possibly that might be a way to do it. Put one in the back of that Cyclone and roll that Cyclone into the ship. Maybe they can't quantum warp. I don't know.
Oh man, the possibilities there.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on, man. It's weird.
I think
New
we've just
pirate
I think we've
gameplay.
just put the seed out there for the community to try that.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
What
Jay.
about what do the payouts look like on those quantum sensitive missions? Are they worth the time or not?
The quantum sensitive ones I think are 15 grand, 15, 20. I think they've upped that one to from what it was in the PTU. It may be 18 to 20,000 now.
It's still not very good if you got to take 45 minutes to watch a YouTube video.
Right. The
20K
one
in
that's
chat.
time sensitive, I believe, that's 20K.
Okay.
The time sensitive one I think is somewhere around 12 to 14. I can't remember exactly.
Well, that one's not bad. I mean, that's
it was 11.
a 20
right?
minute mission.
Yeah, there was a limit to that one, but that one was good.
Yeah. They've
The one
improved
that-
the time a little. Yeah.
The new addition, mission wise, that I've enjoyed the most so far has been the cave missions. They now have bounties inside the cave, where you will spawn in. I think it's 8 to 10, 8 NPCs. They're not all gathered in one spot. They are apportioned throughout the cave, and it's really creepy. The only thing missing is the voice in the back of your head going, "Why are you here?" It's a lot of fun to go down and take them out one at a time. I sound morbid as heck, but anyway, that's how you're going through it. Nam, I know you've done this quite a bit.
Yeah, I've seen up to 12. And if you're doing the one that's called, I think it's like clearing the nest or something like that, it actually tells, just like with the bunker clearing mission, it'll tell you how many you have left, which I wish they actually didn't do. And I wish it was a random number between like 8 to 12, so you don't know for sure until you've checked it all out. But that's just me. It's great. I mean, and if you bumble into the wrong area and you're backlit or whatever, if you start moving too much near them, they will nail you pretty darn fast, and you better find some cover. They've got pretty good on that.
Do they turn on their helmet lights and their weapon lights?
They do.
Yes.
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool.
They turn on their helmet lights, and what's really interesting is if I was in one, and I was able to shoot one across the open cavernous. When you go into the cave, there's a point where you have this huge cavern in the middle of it. When he fell, his light was just pointed straight up in the air, and it was still on. So so much realism with that. But they can't see your light on your helmet. That's the one thing that they do. So you can use your light. You can shine it right at them. They're not going to know that you're there with the light. Jolly, did you do the missions at all? The cave missions?
Never did any of those missions whatsoever. I will now, especially the cave mission itself. I think that sounds really interesting. And the quantum mission, actually, there's plenty of times I'm going to take a break for 45 minutes and get a sandwich while I fly from point A to point B. So I'll probably do that one too.
Yep.
One thing I would be curious about, if anybody finds out, I did not see my reputation change any with those cave bounty hunter missions.
I don't think they're tied to the I don't think they're tied to the bounty hunting piece, because
though they're given by Crusader Security, I did one around Daymar, and it didn't bump my rep or affinity with them at all.
Yeah, I think they're separate for some reason. They're not like the in space bounty missions.
I've got a follow-on question. When they have their weapon lights on, in Star Marine a couple patches ago, when somebody ran across you with a weapon light and pointed it at you, you wouldn't get blinded, but you'd get a real quick glare coming from it. And it could throw your shot off, basically, because it could obstruct the person who's holding the gun behind for a brief second. Did you notice any of that when you were doing the cave?
I did not notice the NPCs using underlights.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Under barrel lights.
Gotcha.
They had helmet lights, but not an under barrel light. So I can't help you with that.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Jay.
I'm sorry. My question would be, did they notice the underbarrel lights at all?
No, they don't notice any light coming from you. Okay. So you can have the headlight on, you can have your underbarrel light on, your field light basically is what it is. You can even I even used
laser.
The red, the laser pointer. Mm-hmm. They didn't notice it. No. And if you've got a silencer, they don't notice when you shoot either. So that's always a good thing.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's really
yeah.
good.
And I found that the P4 is one of the best weapons to take in for that, because I just saw the outline across the cave, dropped him with a P4 with a silencer on it. The guy next to him just kind of took a look and went, "Oh my gosh, what the hell happened?" Shot him too. So it was pretty good.
Beast mode.
Yeah.
Overkill.
If you've been in game and you've owned one of the ships that you could name, those are now active, in the game. People are getting pretty creative with the naming. Namidius has a really good one on his. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You want a picture?
No, I don't know if we can do it now, but
Yeah, a little too late now. But
but
Yeah.
if he rolls up asking about your extended warranty, you'll know where he's coming from with it.
In the next segment.
In the next segment. Oh, that's right. Next segment. Show us your ship name. But anyway, that's all in now. I think there's a little bit of quirks with it through claiming, not claiming. I'm not sure if they've actually gotten that, but that's kind of the quick rundown of the new stuff. So let's talk a little bit about what's broke at the moment, because it wouldn't be a CIG patch if something wasn't broke. The friends list is the first thing that comes to mind for me. And we found that your friends list is now limited to 50. There is a workaround where you have to go in and you basically unfriend the party leader. The party leader then sends out new friend requests. They accept, sort of like what it was back in the day when you had to do the two friend mode, where one sends one to somebody and somebody sends another one to somebody else, and et cetera, et cetera. I think we've gotten used to the ability to party up fairly quickly, and this was kind of a monkey wrench in it. My feeling is that they will solve it. It has to do with a database issue between Spectrum and in-game. It's identified. I think they'll solve it. Go ahead.
Perhaps we should explain why a friend list of 50 is a limitation at all. because it is for us being in large org. But if you're just playing with a few friends, you're like, what? So why is this a big problem for a big org players?
Oh my God! Let me tell you, my friends list. The 255 limit was too little. I mean, it was killing me before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People. I'll log in and I'll have 25 friend requests from ADI members every patch. So I mean, they've got to raise this number. This number has got to grow to 10,000 or something like that.
Well, yeah, it's got to equal
Unlimited.
It's
Yeah.
And we thought they fixed it when they went with the new Spectrum system, where
But they haven't.
the Spectrum friends list translated directly into the game, but something broke this time around with it, and which is why I think that they'll get it fixed and put it back in. But even then, I think it was up to 800. Was that the limit this last time? 800, I think.
I think it might have been 800, but yeah.
And
for those who don't know, the only way to create a party is to first send a friend request. And in big orgs like ours, we run operations on a regular basis, 20, 15, 30, even up to 50 players. And if you participate in a lot of these, you're going to have many hundreds of friends very fast.
Right.
Yes. I mean, without a doubt, you'll have a couple hundred in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we teach people is, as soon as you come in to Mumble to talk to us, make sure you friend everybody in the Mumble room. That way you can continue to build your friends list and with your ADI org mates. So, it's a limitation. There's a workaround, but it's time consuming. That's the big thing. And what you don't want to do is spend all your time trying to form a party. You want to get in the game and get playing. So, yeah, that's a bummer. Another thing, it's broke, but it's broke in a good way, I guess, is that if you logged into live and you have a lot of ships that have loaners, either through the ship's not in game yet, so you got a loaner for it, or loaner through Arena Commander, because you can't take that ship into Arena Commander. You noticed a lot more ships in your ASOP terminal list. I think I personally have 8 Caterpillars, 12 Arrows, 6 Super Hornets, all because they're all loaners for something else that I have in my inventory. You can go to the loanership matrix site on RSI. That's a known problem. I think they've even said that they know what's causing it. They just don't have an ETA for a fix. What that tells me is that if they're going to fix it, they'll drop it maybe with the 0.1 patch that's coming, later on down the line. So for right now, just take advantage of all the ships that you have. I think some people have encountered that when you claim one of the ships that you shouldn't have on your list, I think it becomes locked and you may not be able to call it out again. That becomes a problem when you have 8 of them and you don't really know which one that you put the component on that you want to keep. Just make sure you're going to the vehicle manager before you call the ship out. Check that one. The number on that vehicle loadout manager will match the ASOP terminal for that session. Call out the ship that has the component. Anyone else have anything to add with that?
No, my past experience, I have 7 MRs. That's useful. Thanks, CI. But my past experience with that, you have a duplicate that locks out on you, is you actually don't lose your components. So if I had a Saber, it had all the right components on it. Somebody's ended up with a duplicate for a little period of time. Both had the same components that I had added in there. One would eventually get locked up, which wasn't really mine to begin with, so I didn't really care. So you're not risking losing your components if for some reason your ship gets locked up.
Yeah. I found though that when you have a list of like 1 to 4 on a ship, if you make changes, your ship that was number 1 may not be the number 1 the next time. It may be the number 4 on the list. So you'll go to call out number 1 thinking that's the one that you put all your nice stuff on, only to find out it's the one that you stripped everything off of because you needed it for something else. So just make sure the pro tip this time around is check the vehicle loadout manager before you call out. Go to the terminal. That will match whatever number that the ship listed in the vehicle loadout manager for that session is the one that will match for the ASOP terminal. So you're good. Another thing what we've noticed is that your oxygen levels are dropping while you're sitting in the pilot seat. This is something that was around a long time ago that you had to constantly look at your O2 levels while you're in there. It's a known bug. It's across multiple platforms. Just make sure if you're out there mining, we talked a lot about the mining earlier on, and you can zone out completely when you're mining. I'm so thankful that Nomidius told me last night, hey, did you check your O2? 30%. I was at 30% red line when he told me that, because I was basically just zoning out and mining. Just make sure you're checking that.
I gotta
go
say,
ahead,
CIG, come on, guys. I mean, you fixed this bug 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Can we please test stuff just a hair bit more and not have these bugs reappear? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the workaround is to get out of your seat and get to a location within your ship that has oxygen for the Vanguard series. Come on, I can say that, Vanguard series. That's not the seat, the area right behind the pilot seat. Okay, just because you get out of it doesn't mean there's oxygen in there, but you find that it's not. You have to go to the living quarters in the back. If you're in a single seat fighter, good luck. You just have to land and make sure you're someplace you can pop an oxy pin or get to a station of some sort.
Or stop and do an EVA and oxy pin while you're EVAing.
Yeah, whatever you need to do. It's just a pain in the backside at the moment.
It is.
So I think I was mining yesterday, and I took my helmet off before I sat in the pilot seat, and I didn't have any issues. So I wonder if it's an issue with something related to the seat and your suit not realizing
I don't know.
that it can recharge.
I don't know, Shep. We've had people take their helmets off and sit in the seat and then slowly die.
Maybe I got lucky.
Suffocate.
I don't know.
I did have an issue when I was in my prospector. After I got up and went to the back and let the suit refill with oxygen, I came back, sat down in the prospector seat, probably spent another 30, 40 minutes mining again, and only noticed a drop to 90%. So it's not consistent. The first time around, it was dropping like a rock. The second time around, it wasn't. But I didn't take my helmet off. In fact, I made that comment. I said, well, why don't I just take the helmet off and be okay? And Nom's like, well, if you're losing oxygen by sitting in the seat, that means there's no oxygen around you, dummy. So you're going to die in the seat. So
yeah,
I think
either that or the suit can't detect that you're somewhere with oxygen when it's in a seat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
the bug.
I think the other thing without oxygen is, make sure that that you walk away from the pizza joints if you're going to drink water from the pizza stands, because they don't have oxygen either. So
Also the airlocks on the
Life
surface at
advice.
Hurston.
Sorry.
Surface
Oh, yeah.
outposts on Hurston
Got to
will
be
kill you.
careful. It's not just Hurston; it's also Microtech. Those airlocks, some of them
Yeah,
Yeah.
do
breathable
not have
atmosphere.
oxygen. No
Air-
atmosphere.
Vacuum. Yeah.
Yep. You're in atmosphere. You go into it. The door is
Just-
closed, and you're in
just-
vacuum.
just make sure, Jay, that you put the helmet on before you go through the.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I remember that happening to us not too long ago.
Yep.
And after
Um,
after eating as well,
Yep.
right?
And make sure the
Pro
helmet's
tip.
actually on, like F4, and make sure it's
Mhm.
on.
Yes.
Because I've done plenty of like equip, and then sit there for like 2 minutes and be like, all right, it's got to be on now, and then
Yeah.
It's not.
Something else we've noticed, Jolly, you pointed this out. The refinery orders, when you're logging back into the game, you're not getting the notification right away
No.
that your refining orders are up. Is that still the case?
That's still the case when I checked it yesterday. It used to be you logged in, it would say you have one order ready, how many still in process, the case would be.
Okay.
Now it doesn't show up at all. It's not a big deal, except for if you have those long, like we were talking to the Sonian, an hour, a day and 4 hours. Kind of like, damn, what, is it ready yet or not? I really don't want to run all the way back to some L1 to check it. I'd rather know, is it worth my time or not? So if you go there, if you go to the L1 that you did the refining at, it'll give you the accurate answer right there. It'll show you it's ready to go. But I kind of liked having that little notification when I first started the game without if I wanted to bother trading now.
a
Yeah.
quick email.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yep. See, renaming a ship results in the ship reset and possible lost components. I think, Nam, was this yours that you talked about?
I had added that in there, but yeah, this was a bug that was in the PTU for a while. They fixed it about halfway through the PTU, and then like a couple builds before they released Alive, they broke it again. So, which seems to be a recurring pattern. We're seeing things get fixed, and then it gets reintroduced in a later build. It's almost like there's a version control issue or something. I'm not sure.
Ding, 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 ding.
So,
merges. Yeah.
so the advice to this is before you think about renaming your ship, go in and swap out your components back to stock. Do the
Same
renaming.
thing.
Yeah, same thing like a patch update. Got it.
Yep.
There's also intermittent back-end issues that are causing lags and things, etc. Much to be expected with a new patch as they work through. Anyone else have any other baroque or not working or?
It probably doesn't help that they drop these things on like a Friday afternoon, and then the entire world jumps on and just blasts the servers.
Yeah.
For the weekend. So.
Yeah, that was the problem with the other night when people couldn't, the loadout manager stopped working, the ASOP terminals stopped working. They were just getting pounded because everybody was hopping on. Mm-hmm. All right, what's coming up in the 313X, 313.1 patch that's coming up? Well, we're told we're getting the C2 and the Nova tank and possibly ship-to-station docking. I have seen you can go down now, like in Evers Harbor, I know is there. You can go down to the docking lounge, and it's pretty nice layout. You can see the long tunnel that goes out to where the ship is going to dock next to. You can't go into that location. C2 and M2. Thanks, Tifon. Appreciate that. And that's going to be where where you're going to be able to see the ships come in and actually dock. I think that's it for the new one. Shap, do you know of anything else that's coming out in the next patch?
Nothing I can think out. Maybe we'll see some of those new Grey Cat armors that you can buy with the Rock DS. Trying to think if there's anything else that was getting held back. Are any of those new medical tools coming in late, or is that another patch?
That's next quarter, I think.
I think
Okay.
that's in 14. Yeah,
Gotcha.
It's in 14. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head now.
90 to 120 days.
Perfect.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Let me mark my calendar right
We
now.
hope.
For everyone who's looking for the next ship sale or looking to spend time to either improve or rejigger their fleet, Fleet Week should be coming around the end of May. I think that's about the time it normally comes out for Invictus. We haven't seen anything yet, which leads me to believe I don't know if it's coming or not. But I can't see CIG passing up an opportunity for more ship sales. So that should be coming out around the end of May.
Money, money, money.
Yeah, we'll see. There's something listed on here for Tier 0. Still needs tweaking in size and colors. Still thinks a unique name thing is silly. Who put that?
I think somebody's talking about ship customization there.
Okay.
I think that's. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know anything about that. One big thing, if you're an individual that is looking to, and you should be, because remember, we're all testers in this alpha test build that we're doing here. I know you think you're having fun, but you're really a test monkey. Make sure you're looking at the new issue council that they put out starting in 3.13. If you're looking at the old issue council, you won't find 3.13 there. Go and make sure you go to the RSI site, pull up the issue council, and do a new bookmark to the new issue council. One good thing about this that I've noticed is that you can now ask for feedback to the issue. It doesn't have to be the issue that you put in, but you can be tagged on it so that as things happen and CIG moves through it, you can get a notification that they're actually working on something. So I think that's pretty good. Jolly, when you guys were working through that at the Evo stage, did you encounter any positive, negatives with the new issue council?
Yeah, actually, it took me a while to get used to it because it is dramatically different. And it turns out, initially, my first couple of write-ups, I was doing it in the wrong area of that issue council, the new issue council. I corrected myself. After that, when somebody posted back saying, "Dummy, you're in the wrong place," so it wasn't a problem after that. But actually, maybe I just got too used to the old way of doing the issue council. But it took me a while to get used to the new one, but now I do it. It's fine. You can't edit what you put in there, just so you know. So make sure your spelling's correct before you hit submit. But and the search feature is still pretty darn limited. I put in a pretty precise search. Hey, somebody had already got this one going, and I get nothing back. And so I do a new item, and then later on, next day or two, I'd find somebody that is very similar, close enough that I would have actually done I could concur or I could duplicate right up as opposed to a new one. So I think it's still a little more work to do. I think it'll get better. I just got to get used to it. That's about it.
I think the reason behind it was they're tying it in with the new roadmap and new development format because it looks very similar to their roadmap and development format. See, fuel scooping is now working on most of the ships that's out there. I still think that there's a lot that needs to be going with that. And as a side note, you're now the quantum fuel and hydrogen fuel are now separate for refueling, and they work. There's a different price. If you notice in the last patch, they were the same power, they have same price and same stuff out there. And for Lion, if he's still listening, Star Kitty armor. So there you go. I think that's a good rundown. That's a good rundown.
Let's talk about the Star Kitty armor. And
yeah, sure.
How the stupid armor is such a waste of time.
Are we talking about
different
time?
You got to have something to have a little morale boost in the game. I mean, it can't all
the 5-year-olds that play it. I mean,
people wear the stuff, man. I mean, I know you hate the Field Bear, but
oh my god, the Field Bear.
But have you ever played an MMO that does not have some cheesy nonsense in it?
My concern is how much time are developers spending on more weapons and more armor than really they don't make a big difference. And come on, guys.
Different folks, though. The clothing team isn't the ship team.
I completely agree, but the clothing team could be, I don't know, working on making sure all the colors match that say that they do.
That's that's for the color match team.
Or you can buy a complete set at one spot,
Yeah.
Well, that ain't happening right now. Yeah.
So
I think my issue with that is on the same note. There's like longer term, like what's the composition of teams that we would like to see 1 year from now in CIG? I would like to see more gameplay teams. Or is that a conscious effort? For example, the mining gameplay has gotten very far. I know there's some tech blockers, specifically persistence, to develop a lot of the other gameplay loops, but that's my wish, to see more gameplay teams in the future.
I don't disagree with you. I just say that, there are bugs in current armor, and it would be better, in my opinion, that they fix the bugs than they put out a new Pink Panther kitty armor. Just say it. I mean, My personal opinion. I feel like this is stuff that you need potentially long term because there are some weirdos that play this game. But do you need it in 3.13 instead of 5 months before go live? That's all I'm saying. This flare stuff. I really think they could stop putting more ships in game and focus on getting the current ships to work better, and then start rolling out new ships that all work.
Oh, perish
Next
the
up,
thought.
My Little Pony armor.
Yes, exactly. There's gonna be brony armor in here in a blink of an eye. Mark my words. Just saying.
Baby shark armor or something. I don't know.
Oh,
That or
Now
not.
it's in my head. Thanks.
It's what I do. It's what I do.
I survived life without ever hearing that song. I would like to stay that way.
Let's help Jay out, guys.
No.
Nope.
Oh,
no.
No.
what about pink dinosaur armor? We can go there too.
Oh no,
So-
you purple you mean.
Purple
Yeah.
dinosaur.
Purple dinosaur.
As long as
whatever.
we never get like the
Whatever.
level of PUBG silliness with armor, I think I'll be okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good point. Good point.
that's pretty good.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that's
so-
a rundown, Jay. There you go.
Last but not least, there was a big announcement since our last show. Cap, do you want to bring us up to speed on what the latest Citizencon?
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
So we've got a date for Citizencon. It is the 9th of October of this year. It is 100% virtual, which means there won't be in person. There won't be bar citizens. There won't be bar citizens there. I predict that there will be bar citizen watching parties, perhaps, around the country. If they haven't been talked about yet, maybe now this will be the impetus to get that going. I think it's going to be an interesting change-up. We've seen a lot of events lately go virtual due to the pandemic. As a lot of you know, I work in the live event space. It's my 9 to 5. And we've been doing a metric ton of live events. I'm kind of curious to see how this one is actually going to present. There are a bunch of different options there. You could do a combination of a live event, in front of a big LED wall and in a big virtual, I don't want to call it a virtual studio, but in an actual physical studio to represent a virtual space, with a variety of call-ins and pre-recorded videos kind of cut into the show. I think we'll probably see something similar to that. I think it's all going to be scripted for the most part. Probably not mostly canned. By canned, I mean pre-recorded. I think it's all going to be live, but with some pre-recorded things. I do not think that we will see a paid access pass type situation. The last time they tried that, the entire community exploded. So I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. We see it with BlizzCon where they do kind of an access ticket where you get some in-game goodies and you get to see some bonus material or you see things early. I don't think we're going to see that. The pushback was pretty negative last time. I think we're going to have some community engagement. I don't know if it's going to be canned videos from orgs like org commercials or things like that. The cosplay contest is coming back again. I can already feel Jay's eyes rolling in the back of his head as I say that. I think the cosplay contest is coming back. I don't know if it'll be a quick live presentation of somebody's costumes or not. I don't know. But for me, the biggest bummer about not having Citizencon last year and doing a virtual Citizencon this year is that I always have a great time at the con itself. I see a lot of things. They announce some cool stuff. You get some cool swag. But for me, the majority of the entertainment is getting to meet all of the other citizens from all over the world, getting to meet developers and talk to them in person, ask them questions about things you want to know about. Whether it's other orgs like folks at Daymar Rally, Ultimate Energy, the guys over at JRDF, guys and gals at JRDF who build props. It's all super cool stuff, and you just don't get to do that virtually anymore. It's a different way. You can't have that beer and argue over why you think a mechanic is more important than what the other guy thinks is important. Those are my quick thoughts on CitizenCon. Anybody have anything they want to tag on to the end of that?
Well, I think we as an org, ADI, is going to be doing a big citizen. We're going to figure that out. It'll be virtual as well for us, I would think. I know Jolly is looking for reasons for us to all get together this year.
Las Vegas.
Vegas is so hard.
No, I just read the Nevada restrictions on 1 May.
No, it's pretty empty these days.
50% capacity.
Yeah.
Masks probably still be required. I'm guessing that. Not
By
sure.
the way, thank you, Leica CIG, which I'm guessing is a CIG employee, for the follow. So yeah, I'm with you. It's just trying to bring. I know we're going to want to stream HangarReady right after Citizencon, and it's the logistics of trying to get everything to Vegas that we're going to need to make that happen.
But it's Vegas, baby.
That worrying me.
Sam likes to drive, right?
Sam likes to drive.
8,000 people.
I just
One
don't-
hotel. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll have to. We've got stuff that we got to figure out. I mean, there is definitely a ADI meeting that's coming after the pandemic clears, for sure. Without a doubt, we're going to do that. It's we're going to talk about it, but I know we're going to do a big show. I think we're all in agreement, right, Jolly, that we're going to do a big HangarReady.
Yes. We'll
And
do something.
bigger than we normally do, even if it is virtual. We'll rely a little bit on ChapCap here to give us some more potential crazy ideas that we can do. ChapCap does this for a living, but I think he would tell you our setup here is, for as cheap as it was, is actually pretty good, don't you think, ChapCap?
There are people who are on syndicated news networks who have vastly inferior setups to what we do here. And these people are live all over the nation with millions of viewers. So yes, we have an amazing studio built on a very small budget, which is awesome.
Yep, that's all Sam over here. If Joni will pick him up on the screen. Hold on a second. And Jacqueline. Whoops, wrong screen there.
Nope, that's him. That's what he looks like. I've met him.
Man.
So, but no, in all seriousness, it's we've put together, and we're upgrading the studio computer equipment to be able to handle more Skype calls, wink wink nod nod, and some other stuff. So I'm looking forward to it, but we will be doing something, and we will be back next month for the month of May. And I should have had us pick a date before we even got on this. We'll have to announce that, guys. I'm sorry.
The whole midday thing's got us thrown off.
I'll figure it out.
We don't know what we're doing.
Jolly's going to pick a date. We'll be back at the regular 8 p.m. Saturday time for that. We'll do a show in June, and then we'll take July off. So I hope everyone is enjoying the show. Guys, tell us, what are the things that you want us to talk about? What are things that we should be covering that we're not? What are these things that you like about it and don't like about the show? We're looking for feedback to make it better. Jolly, before I'll start down with Waterdrop, who is our special guest from Europe. Anything you'd like to add to the out there to the audience? We've got a little over 120 people watching right now.
No, not really. I think it's super cool. 100 viewers. I think that's great. Good show.
Yep, I completely agree. ChapCap, anything you'd like to add before we call it a night or call it a day?
No, I think, great show. I'm going to jump into PU myself once this is over, if anybody's looking to team up. Great show. It's great to have Waterdrop here. I haven't seen him since Citizencon, so that's pretty awesome. And thanks for watching, everybody. Good to see you.
Anybody who hasn't noticed, ChapCap has really set up a cool studio to start doing some streaming in the future. And it's looking pretty amazing.
Oh, thanks.
So, Namidius, anything you'd like to add?
Enjoyed talking about this stuff. 313 is kind of a mixed bag. I mean, there's some really cool things I've been looking for a while, but at the same time, they seem like there's more broken than usual on this one. But I'm hopeful most of that will get worked out in point one. But it was fun talking, and I'm looking forward to more news on what we do as a get-together.
So Ronan is asking us, what org are we in? Most of us are senior folks in Atlas Defense Industries. I basically run it with Jolly, Turing, Nom, and Waterdrop are senior directors, and ChapCap has taken a leave from staff, but hopefully now that he's back at home, we'll be moving back into an official staff position to probably run our virtual Citizencon get together, I would think.
Ooh, sweet.
So, but he's been busy. He was away and I don't know how much he wants us to say. He was away during political season doing his job. Therefore, I had to take a step back.
doing political season things.
Yes, we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Turin, what are your final thoughts?
First off, I appreciate Waterdrop being here because it gave one more guy with hair, so I was not
So it's not all
completely
bald people?
outnumbered.
Overrated.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the producers putting all the hair guys on one side and all the non-hair guys on the other side.
That was pure dumb luck.
So, no, great show. I really enjoy it. Hopefully we can do more of these to target, all our audience who want to dial in, and look forward to next month and the virtual con when it comes up.
Yeah, definitely. Jolly, what are your closing thoughts?
313, I think it's coming through fine. Bear in mind, there's still some dirty Ks out there. Don't forget, if you're traveling with a load of cargo in the back, as soon as whatever place it is you left from, call for clearance to land. That'll remark your point. If a 30K happens between that and when you eventually get to your offload point, they'll reappear at the last place you asked for clearance to land with your cargo. So don't throw away your gear.
Hey, Ronan, thank you very much for the follow. Lacos asks, can we get a HangarReady show per evening like a Vegas show? No, I definitely, you do not want to see us doing a Vegas
not want to
show.
see that.
No,
I don't know.
no.
I don't
Jay,
know how we
15
fill an
May.
hour every day.
Jay, 15 May is the next
15 May then.
HangarReady.
it is.
15 May, middle of the month.
May 15th, 8 p.m. Central.
Yes, sir.
9 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Now, guys, I think that we had a great show tonight. I mean, it was a lot of information. 313 had a ton of stuff in it. And I really think that we did a good job. I've got a request for us to actually do something we've never done before since it's the middle of the day. And that is rating Atmo Esports, who are currently covering one of the races. And so right as we get ready to sign off, I'll give the word over to Jaglin to hit that button for us. But we definitely would love for you guys to stick around and tell these guys how much we appreciate them supporting the community as well as us. And I guess that's it. Take us to the screenshot there, and we can all wave bye. Bye, guys. Guys, stay on. Don't hang up. We'll go to the ending screen and start the raid. So go ahead and hit the raid. No, hit raid first. Hit raid first. There we go.
Okay, is that right?
Yeah. No.
No, it's going. It's going.
Good. Give it a second and get ready to. There's a raid button in the top that you're going to have to click. Not yet. Give it a second. We got 26 raiders. Okay, hit it, guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on May 15th at 8 p.m.